thoughts about me, oh God. They cannot be numbered. I can't even count them. They outnumber the grains of sand. And when I wake up, you are still with me. Psalm 139, 17 through 18. Psalm 139, 17 through 18. Bow, 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 bow. How precious are your thoughts about me, oh God. They cannot be numbered. I can't even count them. They outnumber the grains of sand. When I wake up, you are still with me. Psalm 139, 17 through 18. Psalm 139, 17 through 18. Psalm 139, 17 through 18. Psalm 139, 17 through 18.
Good morning, kids. How are you today? I hope you're enjoying this week. Hope it's been a good week. Hope you did some obeying and listening to your parents and stuff this week. Our big word this morning is obey, and it is found in this lady's arm up here. Obey is O-B-E-Y, real easy letters. Hope you're also learning how to write too. That would be really cool to know that you're learning to write and your school stuff. I know that was a big thing with you, learning to write and read it. So these guys here, remember the Israelites? They weren't too happy, were they? They were being chased by the Egyptians and got caught last week with the waves. And so we're going to find out what happens a month later. Just a month, that's 4 weeks, 30 some odd days for you kids that don't understand all the mathematics of that. But they've been walking a lot in the desert, and they've not been, wondering what's going to happen, because here they were saved from the waves in the Red Sea, and now they're coming to a time where, like, we need to know if God's still with us. They're not sure, and they're not understanding what's happening, and Moses is right there with them, leading the way to what we call the Promised Land. They're heading that way, and we're going to find out what's going on, okay? So listen up, and we'll tell you the story today. The Israelites began to complain. That's these faces here. We are hot. We are tired. We are hungry. And the Israelites looked all around the desert. We're out here in this desert. Now, you know what desert is. It's just complete sand, hardly any trees, no water, and they hadn't had any food for a while, and so there was no water. And what are we going to do was their big statement. We're going to die of hunger. They were just complaining. Now, you'd think with all that God's done for them, they wouldn't be complaining so much. They would start trusting God and say, what's going to happen? But no, they were really arguing, and they were very disappointed about what was going. They believed they were better off, listen to this, as slaves than being out here with Moses and all these people and heading to a land that's supposed to be really cool. They just didn't know how to accept that God was with them. So I'm going to lay them over there. Moses is trying to get them to listen, and he believes that God is going to take care of them, and he's trying to tell them to listen. And we know that God has taken care of the Israelites. He loves them, and he would not leave them hungry. God promised that he would provide for them no matter what. And so as the sun began to set, one evening after Moses said, God's going to take care of us and he's going to send some meat. And the Israelites were like, yeah, okay, what kind of meat are we going to get out here? And what did they get? They got quails. Now, quails are little fish. Little fish. That's a good one, kids. Little birds. And they began to run around the campsite. And the Israelites looked at them and thought, well, how can we use these for food? And what do you think God's going to tell them? That they can probably build a fire, cook them, and have some meat. Every morning the Israelites would wake up and they saw something. I'm rushing ahead. Every morning the Israelites woke up and saw something that looked like dew on the ground. Well, here he'd sent the quails for meat, and when they got up, they had dew on the ground, and they weren't sure what that was, and they asked Moses, what is this? And he said that it was flaky bread with honey. I think God's pretty cool to send this kind of stuff. Flaky bread with honey, all right? That's pretty cool that he could do that. It was so good, and the Israelites enjoyed it, and they decided to call it manna. God promised to provide this bread for the Israelites every morning, and that God told them they could gather as much as they needed to fill their tummies. So they would have meat at night, and they would have this in the morning. Now, he told them he could have as much as they wanted for their tummies, but they were not to take any more than they needed, and they couldn't store any of it up. So they couldn't gather more than they needed, and they had to use it right away in that one time. Well, some of the Israelites, go figure, there had to be somebody that didn't obey, right? And the Israelites didn't obey, and however, some did, but some didn't. And they were afraid God wouldn't provide and care for them. And they looked for extra food. They even snuck extra food without anybody knowing. So they wouldn't go hungry the next day. They just didn't trust God that he would have enough there. And when these Israelites woke up in the morning, what do you think happened? Their extra food was covered in bugs, maggots, nasty little things were covered all over the food. I don't think that was very cool. I'm sure they didn't think it was very cool either. That was gross. Since they didn't trust God, their food was ruined. Why do we always fight? We always fight like, well, God's going to take care of me, but no, maybe he's not, so I must do something. And we always get a consequence, don't we? Because we don't trust. We say that with our parents. God, they say, do this and you'll get rewarded. And then you're like, yeah, so you're going to go do something else, and then you get a consequence instead of the reward. We need to listen. God, our parents, everybody's trying to teach us to listen, and our big word, obey. Always obey. God's not going to tell you to do something silly. God's not going to tell you to do something stupid. He's going to take care of us, okay? So listen up. So God provided enough food, like he said he would, and he cared for the Israelites. And each day the Israelites were to gather food for that day. But he also said, that's 6 days you can do this. But on the 7th day, now we call the 7th day our Sunday. They called it, the word is Sabbath. But that's like our Sunday. It's a holy day. God wanted them to rest, and he wanted the Israelites to not work on that day and to just take it easy, and he would provide for them. But he did not want them to work, so he didn't want them, he was trying to teach them to not do this. So he said, we won't have any food arrive on the 7th day, but I will let you pick up extra food for the 6th day. On the 6th day, and you eat what you need for the 6th day, but keep enough for the 7th day. And as usual, what do you think? There were some that didn't obey. And they just wasn't trusting, and they didn't pick enough. And they showed up on the seventh day, the Sabbath day, and they looked, and there was no food. Well, God said there wouldn't be. Well, they were supposed to listen. So then either they ate all their extra or didn't pick enough. So on the seventh day, they didn't have any. And then it finally centered in their brains that, okay, he says it, I must obey. So they started to listen. And when they woke up and they went outside, they saw that, and God said, obey. The Israelites had no reason to doubt God's faithfulness. They had no reason to not trust him. God was very sad. He was sad that, I forgot that there's a picture of them doing that, but God is our God. He is not going to let us down. I said that. He was just so sad. He is sad when we don't listen. He's sad when we don't obey. He's sad when we do things that we're not supposed to do, and he's telling us to do other things that will make us better people. And we like, well, I don't want to do that. I want to do this. And we do that with obeying our parents. They may say, make our beds, do all that, and then you can go play and have fun. And you go and do that, and then you have to go back and do it anyway, because that's the way we need to teach you. You have to do those things. And sometimes we just fight, and we shouldn't fight. God doesn't want us to argue and fight over things. He says, I will lift us up always. I will take care of you, and I will remain faithful. I will provide always for my people. And we need to remember that. And that God is always there. He's always there to take care of us. He's never going to let us fail. Now, I left out one picture. I got overexcited leaving my story there and didn't show you. That was the sand. That's all they saw, was like sand all the time. And just maybe a little bush here and there or some mountains. But there was nothing. And God said he would provide. And all we had to do was wait, okay? God would take care. And there was plenty that he gave. And plenty of the bowls were full. And plenty to take care of them. So don't give up. Always listen, always obey, because God is watching over us, okay? I hope you're really enjoying these lessons, and we're going to hear more and more about what's going on with Moses and his people and see if they get to the promised land, okay? So keep following, keep listening, and keep obeying. It's not that hard. We get good things when we obey, okay? So let's pray. Let's talk to God. Dear Jesus, we thank you for coming and coming to save us and to watch over us and to teach us how to obey, teach us how to follow you. And it sounds so simple, but we walk the other way sometimes. We don't listen. If we just take those simple steps and listen to you each day, we cannot fail. So Lord, please take care of us. Watch over these boys and girls. Love them. Keep them safe. And we'll see each other very soon. We thank you for all this in your precious name. Amen. Okay. Sorry, I get a little...